Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.
Hey, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. I know many of you are going to probably be watching this after the fact because I know the title is going to bring in some folks to check out what I have to say. What I have to say is going to be very, very interesting. There you go. Very interesting. That's a good term for it. Very interesting because what I'm going to talk about is how Washington, D.C. shams black people. And I only say black because y'all know who I'm talking about. I know we're not identified as a color and all of that. Brown people, indigenous, African American. What else? What other name you want me to identify it as? I don't. They got us so twisted and crazy with this stuff. It just don't make no sense. So y'all know what I'm talking about. How Washington D.C. I'm going to break this thing down for you. I grew up in Washington D.C. I am a Washingtonian, so some of the things I can say from being in Washington D.C. in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And so I know, it is what it is. I went to Georgetown Day School in D.C. and I went to D.C. public schools in D.C. I went to Amadon, Jefferson, and Wilson. So it's, yeah. But what I saw a news report, and this mess goes on in Africa. I think what did it was the fact that, because everybody, since I've been on this page talking about Africa, like I've been hearing all these ignorant statements about how bad it is in Africa, and I'm about to show you what the real deal is, the similarities between Washington, D.C., which is supposed to be the most powerful city in the world, and it's supposed to be this, that, and the third. And I'm going to show you how ghetto the situation is and how this thing is. And I'm not talking about the people of D.C. I'm talking about the system of D.C. The system of D.C. And I'm not even talking about the recent crime wave that they've started to promote again, which then promotes the more crime wave and keeps it going and all of that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm going to share with you is literally inexcusable. It is inexcusable. And it is something that it reeks of colonization. That's the only way I know how to put it. It reeks of it. It smells like the back alley after people done peed in the back alley. That's what it smells like. And it's just been sitting in the heat. That smell, that's what this is. It is insane. It is the most backwards thing that I think I've seen, but it was like I needed to see that news report in order for this thing to click. If I did not see that news report and understand colonization and how it works, it would have just went over my head. And I think it's gone over a lot of people's head, or we've just kind of accepted it. That's the way it is. But this is completely unacceptable, and they need to get some people out of office. They need to run some jokers out of office. They need to do something. They need to put some fire on some folks. They need to say, look, this right here is unacceptable. And let me show it to you, and then I'm going to break it all the way down.
Washington, D.C. is home to nearly 700,000 people and more than 70 full-service grocery stores. But those grocery stores aren't evenly distributed, as a report written by the advocacy group DC Hunger Solutions shows. While each of the 8 wards has roughly the same population, Ward 3 in Upper Northwest has 16 full-service food stores, while Ward 8 east of the river has 1, and Ward 7 has 2.
In D.C., we have a lot of food insecurity, but it's not for lack of food. It really is lack of access to healthy food.
The district's deputy mayor for economic development tells News 4 the district is spending tens of millions of dollars trying to attract food retailers to underserved neighborhoods, including smaller community grocery stores like Good Food Market in Ward 8.
So the mayor has put forth the Food Access Fund, which is $58 million to create food access points throughout Wards 7 and 8.
Today, the mayor's office announced that one of the larger grocery chains that is planning to open east of the river is now planning a new store in the old Modell's on 14th Street in North West.
Lidl, which is a new entry to the DC market, is going to be opening up their second location right here in Columbia Heights.
The district has added 24 grocery stores since 2015. Harris Teeter recently closed this location in Southeast. Meanwhile, residents in Ward 3 are eagerly awaiting the opening of DC's first Wegmans, one of 8 new grocery stores in the offing. Wheeler points out many of the residents east of the river rely on federal food subsidies like SNAP and WIC, which are not always accepted at smaller food stores.
The people who really suffer a lot are the disabled. We have a lot of children who are on SNAP and WIC, and seniors.
In a major effort to bring another grocery store east of the river, Mayor Bowser and the DC Council are using eminent domain to acquire this land in Ward 7 as the site for a yet-to-be-named grocery store. In the district, Mark Seagraves, News 4.
All right. There is no excuse in 2022 in what is supposed to be the most powerful city in the world, all of that, for there to only be 3 grocery stores in the most densely populated areas where brown, melanated, black, African-American people reside. Now, the reason why this caught my attention is because the mayor is black. The council is majority black, African, whatever. DC supposedly gained its home rule in 1973, which is the equivalent of independence. That's like in Africa and different Caribbean countries and places like that, they say when they got rid of their colonial master, that was independence. So supposedly Washington, D.C. got rid of its colonial master or its master in 1973. So it's been almost 50 years. Almost 50 years. We're not even talking about redlining and all the other little shady things that have been happening over the years. But here we are in 2022, and they put that bull, that's some bull. That report right there was some bull, and I'm gonna break it down to you how it's some bull. 50 years. Ward 7, Ward 8, 3 grocery stores. Now I know what you call it. They just said Harris Teeter shut down, but Ward 3 has 16. Now they said the population was roughly about the same. So why is that? You got a black mayor, got a majority black city council. This is probably the most democratic city, meaning Democratic Party city in the country. Maybe San Francisco might be like right close to it. But this is what's going on, y'all. But yet, those are probably the most Democratic loyal wards in the city. But 3 grocery stores. And then they pulled a bull talking about, well, it's not like, and they always got to get somebody up there to talk that talk. Always got to get one of us to go up there and talk that talk. Well, it's not that we don't have food, it's we don't have access to good food. Well, guess what? If you don't have access, you don't have food. So then my next question is, well, where are the people getting food from? Well, where's the food? So is that where it now goes to the Asian-owned corner store with the overpriced food? Is that what this is? So you start thinking when you start seeing things like this. So then, now I'm gonna tell you what, more reasons why it's bull. Because then they said, well, the mayor has a $58 million fund to attract retailers. Negro, please, you could take $58 million and open 10 grocery stores. So that's the bull right there. That's the bull. When they talk that stuff, hey, we have a fund to try to attract people, just like they can mandate the stuff that they mandate right now. They can mandate some grocery stores. Now, I'm not talking about one that you go snatch up eminent domain and ward, we're going to get one grocery store over here to appease everybody. See, what's going to happen is, because they said they just added 24 grocery stores to the city since 2015, but only 3 in Ward 7 and 8. Then they said, well, they're largely relying upon SNAP and something else for subsidies. Those same subsidies come from the same program that prints the same money. They could drop all the money that they want. They could put as many grocery stores as they want. But if you notice, 16 grocery stores in Ward 3, they're awaiting Wegmans. But you can't get quality food in Ward 7 and 8. and we keep voting these clowns in. Come on, y'all, we got to wake up. We got to do better. We keep putting these people in office, putting hope in them, and we keep getting the same bull. It is plain. It is plain as day. There's no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for it. I mean, there is absolutely no excuse for this.
While each of the 8 wards has roughly the same population, Ward 3 in Upper Northwest has 16 full-service food stores, while Ward 8 east of the river has 1, and Ward 7 has 2. While each of the
Again. So how does this parallel with Africa and what I saw in Africa? Because this is much of what I've seen in many of the countries I've been in, where these puppet governments that are put in place by the colonial master come in and just do the dirty work of the colonial master and leave the people, the most impoverished people, at the bottom with nothing. It's the same pattern that happens with the redlining, and you just kind of notice, because if you cut off access to the food for the people in the different places in DC, if you cut the access off, where are they going to grow the food? They can't go grow the food. So you can kill off a whole population if you cut off the food supply to them, or you put them in a position where you control the food supply that goes to them. So now you can pump a bunch of junk their way, or those who want to continue to exploit that particular community. Well, if that's the only option that you have, the little corner store selling the junk, and then they got the liquor store, and you got this and that and the other, then the next thing you know, that is exactly how you're able to oppress people economically. But yet up in Ward 3, up in Northwest, Calorama and all, I don't know if Calorama's up there or not, but if you go up that way, now you got a whole plethora of grocery stores, Whole Foods and Wegmans and Harris Teeter and Safeway and Giant and you keep on going, the little custom grocery stores. It is insane. That's what I'm saying. It is absolutely sick that 50 years, and then there will be somebody who will come back and say, well, but you got to understand, there is no understanding. Every mayor that has come before this one should be held accountable the same way, to say, how is this allowed to happen in this city with all of these people who are talking this black talk? If anything, and this is what I tell people all the time, when y'all get off the nipple of the Democratic Party and the con of these people and what they're doing, when you get off of that nipple, you'll be able to see it. And I'm being nice when I say nipple. I'm really being nice when I say nipple. You go and you look and you say, Ward 7 and 8 should be the shining example of economic prosperity as a result of the Democratic Party. If anything, there should be 16 grocery stores in Ward 7, 16 grocery stores in Ward 8. As loyal as that community is to that party, is loyal. But this is what you see. It's inexcusable. And again, that's why I said I'm an independent. I say clearly not a Republican, but an independent. I look at that mess and I say, man, there's no way in the world. And then they talk that every election cycle, they come around talking that black talk, and we got to do this, and we got to get more food. Just take the $58 million and invest it in the community, and then you can. That's all you got to do. I mean, you're getting the money from your colonial master, so all you got to do is set up the shop. But the colonial master says, no, we got to keep these people in this position. We'll put you in office, and you do our dirty work, and then we don't have to take the blame for it, and then you'll take the fall for it, and you don't care because we'll fund you enough to where you don't even care. See, that's how the game is played, y'all. We got to wake up to what this game is. It happens in Africa the same way it happens in America. There's really no difference. So for all the people in America who thinking it like, oh, we got it so much better, you just don't even understand. You don't even understand how the game is being played. It's the same. It's not even chess. It's ghetto. That's what they're doing. It's like ghetto colonialism now. It's not even sophisticated anymore. It's just like, yeah, we're going to keep trashing. You're going to keep voting for us. You're going to keep putting us in office because we play the black card every time. We play color politics. So if somebody look like you, we already know you're going to already fall for it because, and if they, have a couple little symbols and all that kind of stuff that you like, you're going to fall for it. You're going to go for it. You're going to do it just like every cycle, every election cycle, time and time again. Everybody else gets exactly what they want. But for some reason, because they know the psychological spell that they have cast upon those who have been traumatized, abused, all of that stuff that came by way of chattel slavery and then the subsequent years after that, they understand the psychological impact that has happened. and the psychological conditioning that has been twisted, manipulated, reinforced, de-enforced. That's a word I just made up right there. Whatever else you want to think of. And that's why I said I could not be in the peanut gallery anymore. I could not sit there and just say, all right. And then the little politicians run around to the churches, and then the little pastors put them up there and let them go, like, feed the congregation, like, put them up there before the congregation and feed the people that garbage, that bull. And the same stuff happens time and time and time and time again. Every single time. I've been in my whole life. Every single time. It is nauseating to sit there and watch this. And then say, well, they're trying to create opportunities. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. Y'all tore down, and I'm just saying y'all, and meaning the system. Y'all took right there on South Capitol Street, right across from Randall and Skyline Inn, the old McDonald's. Tore that thing down. It must have been maybe 3-4 years ago now. And before you know, within 2 years, had a whole new high-rise constructed, built, sold, pretty much sold out or selling out or whatever within 2 years. Right there, it's right across South Capitol Street, so I think it's right in Southeast, on that side, right, Southwest, Southeast, right there. Just like that, boom, just put it up just like that. You mean to tell me you can't put up some grocery stores? I'm telling y'all, this stuff, when you start really analyzing what's happening in these streets, I just can't do it. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I covered everything, because, yeah, I covered everything off the dome. It must have really been on the dome pretty heavy, because I'm looking, everything, every note I had. What I will say is this: y'all need to hit Bowser up and say, come on, stop being a puppet. For real. Stop being a puppet. Y'all need to hit up whoever's on your council or whatever. So y'all need to stop being puppets. And of course, now, if you're an uppity Negro, you really don't care, because you'll just say, well, that doesn't affect me, because I'm here among the places that has the 16, so it doesn't affect you anymore. You grew up in Ward 7 and 8, but now you done got all uppity and all of that, so you forgot that. That you too good for that. That's right, I forgot. Same thing when it comes to politics and all of that stuff. What I've seen in different parts of Africa, when you would have one political party, this is kind of where it goes into the whole, they call it tribalism. One particular ethnic group has control, and then you find out they're cutting off power to the other ethnic group. And so basically just kind of waging a little subtle ethnic war undercover, because they're cutting off the resources. Interesting. And so then, of course, whoever the presidents bow down to, then and suck on their nipple, and when they do that, then what ends up happening at that point is they get kickbacks. Don't y'all know that these presidents getting kickbacks on the back? If they're bribing on the low level, if they're bribing at the airport, if they're doing it on the low level, what do you think they're doing on a governmental level, when there is no rules and regulations and accountability, unless you step out of line from your colonial master? You step out of line from your colonial master, there will be a coup. There's a coup coming. There's a coup coming your way. There's a coup coming. You step out of line from your colonial master, you're going to end up dead. So talk to my man in Haiti, talk to my man in Tanzania, talk to my man in Burundi, and you can talk to a whole slew of others that went before. So the minute you step out of line, and the one who sucks on the nipple of the colonial master the best is the one who gets the resources. And so and then they dress it up. That's where the development is. That's where all of the, you gotta understand how the game is played. You gotta understand it. And my hope is to educate people to say, this is what they're doing to you. This is what they're doing. They're taking advantage of our seniors by way of really restricting access and helplessness. And so, or somebody has to drive, all the way across town to go shop at an overpriced grocery store to take the food back. And then, they talked about the one grocery chain coming in. I think that's a German-owned brand. I think it's German. Don't quote me on German, but I think that's a German-owned grocery store that's now coming in, taking the money out of the community. That's how that works. This is why financial literacy is so important. This is really what it boils down to: capitalism and corrupted capitalism. And they talk about corruption in Africa. This is corrupt right here. That you got 3 grocery stores in two heavily densely populated melanated people in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital of what's supposed to be the greatest country in the world. That is inexcusable. But yet, somebody will make an excuse for it. Somebody will tell us that we need to get out and go vote for these same people that's going to allow this mess to happen. But somebody will really and say, you can't get mad if you don't vote. And so you don't vote. What are you voting for? You're voting for more of the same thing. You're voting for more bull. So people wonder, that's why they become disenfranchised. So that's why plans have to be put in place, and to say pressure has to be put on in place on people to say, listen, if we put you in office, then this is what we need, because guaranteed those people in Ward 3, Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 4, Ward 5, they make sure that if they put somebody in office, they don't do what they've been told to do, they come out of office. That's how the game works. That's how Ward 3 gets 16 grocery stores with the same population as Ward 7, roughly the same population. Because they understand. They say, no, we will get you out of there. We will not, nope. These are the things that we want. But again, it goes back to colonization. It goes back to just so many layers and layers of systemic foolishness in place. It goes back to the education. A lot of people are dealing with, just unresolved traumas. They're dealing with not knowing the system and not understanding it. They're dealing with these bootleg churches out here that's not talking about anything, but still trying to get their money and exploit their traumas. And of course, that's not all the churches out there. You got some churches out there that's not bootleg, but I promise you it's a minority, not a majority. And you have that going on. So you have layers of systemic issues that are that creates this problem. And so somebody who's smart, a capitalist, sits back and looks for where they can capitalize. And they said, well, these people, they don't know what's going on. So, and they see the world in black and white. They don't see the world in green and deposit, wire funds. They don't see the world like that unless it's with that little card. So they see the world in black and white. So let's go back to the old tactic of the old days, back on the old overseas here. Because you can always find somebody to sell out. Because somebody's greedy. You got to understand, on the continent of Africa, they didn't see the world in black and white. This whole black and white thing is a new invention. This is a new colonized invention that someone made up and said, this is how we can create division. But it also creates a dysfunctional loyalty, because we have been trained to see the world in black and white. When I found out that the NAACP was co-founded with people by white people, when I found that out, I was like, oh, okay, didn't tell us that. Ooh, why didn't they mention that? They told us about W.E.B. Du Bois and all them, but why didn't they tell us about Joel Spingarn? Why did they omit that information? See, when you start finding out, and who controlled the money up into the 60s. See, when you start finding stuff out like that, you say, wait a minute. So this is no slight on those people who have been fighting against this stuff, who have literally laid down their life to say, hey, listen, this is unacceptable. And they fought, and they were either literally killed or muzzled and all of that, because that's what happens when you start speaking too loudly. First thing they want to do is get rid of you. First thing they want to do is either shut you up. The main thing they want to do is shut you up, because they know the spell that they have on the minds of the people. And so when you have people conditioned to be afraid to open their mouths or to even do anything different other than what the people, say. And again, I go back to this. If you can mandate for people, in order for people to go into restaurants and eat and do all this other kind of stuff, that they have to have a little card or whatever, then you can mandate that if you can mandate that those same 16 grocery stores, that all them 16, that if you want to be in this ward, then you got to put at least one grocery store in that ward. If you mandate, and since you can mandate, and they always say the mayor's mandate, the mayor says, so the mayor can mandate all of these other things and regulate people's lives. Then what the mayor can do is tell whoever, Wegmans, Safeway, Giant, Lido, Harris Teeter, I think that's pretty much all the big ones in this area. Hey, y'all need to drop one. Just put one store over there. Just put one. Now, I don't know what the grocery stores are in the 3 that are there. So maybe one of those corporations did that, but they can put up more than one. If they have 2 in Ward 3, then they can put 2 in Ward 7. So what I hope the people in Ward 7 and 8 do is raise hell. That's right, raise hell up out the ground and say, look, what is going on? Help me understand what's happening. Because, or this could be an opportunity. Got me thinking now. Bump them big store, but forget them retailers. Got me thinking. Because it's an opportunity. But you know what ends up happening? This is how this works. Someone wants to go in and create that opportunity, and suddenly there's legislation that blocks them. Kind of like the whole black hair thing with the Korean, how the Korean hair industry blocks black people from selling like their own fake black hair. That it's so then there's this legislation that comes through that says, well, no, you can't do that. And then you'll finally find the big box retailer that will now come in. It's a wicked game. It's a wicked game of capitalism, y'all. It's a wicked game. And I'm not opposed to capitalism. I'm opposed to exploiting people, blatantly exploiting people at the expense of capitalism. That's where the problem is. So if my folks in Africa, y'all want to know what's good, what's real, the real deal in America, that's the real deal in America. And then so you have that, and then you have these little I mean, they always got to put up somebody that's double talking you, and trying to put a good face on it. Check this out.
See, we have a lot of food insecurity, but it's not for lack of food. It really is lack of access to healthy food.
Well, that's unacceptable. If it's not for lack of food, then we need to fix the access. And this does not take rocket science to do. It doesn't take, how are we going to get the food to the people? I don't know how we're going to get the food to the people. Let's sit down and talk about it for a whole year and figure out how we're going to get the food to the people. While Ward 3 then built 4 or 5 more grocery stores getting the food to the people. See, that's what I'm saying when it comes to the con game. And then you got this mess right here. There shouldn't be any underserved areas in D.C. Should not be any underserved areas in D.C. with all the hype that they, the system promotes itself.
Deputy Mayor for Economic Development tells News 4 the district is spending tens of millions of dollars trying to attract food retailers to underserved neighborhoods, including smaller community grocery stores like this Good Food Market in Ward 8.
So the mayor has put forth the Food Access Fund, which is $58 million to create food access points throughout Wards 7 and 8.
Today, the mayor's office announced that one of the larger grocery chains that is planning to open east of the river is now planning a new store in the old Modell's on 14th Street in Northwest.
Lidl, which is a new entry to the DC market, is going to be opening up their second location.
All right. See, those are things like that. That's when I was talking about the bull, that's the bull right there. When they're saying they have $58 million set aside for a fund that, again, you could take $5 million a grocery store and you have 11 grocery stores right there. And I'm saying, okay, you don't have to have the biggest grocery store. You can have something. It does not take much to put a grocery store together. I mean, really, it doesn't. Again, it could be, you get a 5,000 square foot place, put some shelves up, get the food in there. And it's 5,000 square foot. That's small. That's a small space. But let's say you get a 10,000 square foot place, and you put that strategically 11 of them around in that area. Now you're solving the problem. And don't pump junk in there. Try to put some food in there that's worthwhile. But that solves the problem. That's the $58 million. See, that's what I'm saying. That type of stuff right there. You're trying to spend money to attract somebody to come in when you have the money to go ahead and build the infrastructure and put the thing in place. So who's saying that you can't do it? That's what I'm saying. Who's saying that you can't do it? Who's saying you can't do it? Who's telling you? Who is spanking your butt telling you cannot go and build 11 grocery stores between Ward 7 and Ward 8? Well, we need to get approval from so-and-so said, such and such said, we need to talk. Well, then talk to so-and-so and make it happen. I'm telling you, y'all need to get a shoot. Y'all, boy, I'm telling you, this is why understanding politics is so important, because you just look for the results. And if this were just the first term and this was just a new problem, but this is 50 years, almost 50 years, 1973, December 1973 is when DC supposedly gained home rule. So there have been 50 years to address this. Now, I guess they had 4 grocery stores there in between the 2 wards until Harris Teeter closed. I'm sure they've had grocery stores over the years, but nothing like Ward 3. And so wait, now, once they gentrify DC and get all them black folks up out of there, watch how quickly Ward 7 and 8, now they have 16. Then they'll come back with some bull on the news report talking about, in Ward 7 and 8, they used to have food shortage, and now they have 16 grocery stores in each ward. But then the whole population has been moved out or died off. See, con game. I would say this, for those who are interested in this topic, the bull, check Detroit and see what they're doing in Detroit. Check Atlanta and see what they're doing in Atlanta. Hot Atlanta, the ATL. Check what they got going on. Check Dallas. Check Houston. What's another? Check Chicago. Check LA. What else? Where else another? Check Miami. Check trying to think something else on that might have Philly. Check Philadelphia out. Check New York City. I'm just kind of going through my mind of like the top 10 largest cities in America. Check San Jose, check San Diego. It might be a little different in some of these areas because you're going to start getting into a lighter hue. So it might be a little different, but check those areas with the heavily densely populated of dark melanated people and see. And also check the political map. See where you got that donkey and where you get that elephant. And then when you begin to start breaking this thing down little by little, you'll start seeing a very interesting picture. You'll start seeing some things. And then what you do is that when you start showing people this stuff, and if they just say, oh, well, if they start making excuses for it, then you see the spell. That's the spell. When somebody makes excuses for foolishness, and when you offer a pure, just simple solution, say, do this, get that person out of office, because clearly that person is not doing the job. Oh no, I don't know what else we gonna do. We waiting on Master Biden to send some money to us. We waiting on Master Biden. Please, Master Biden, send us some money. Can you please send us some money, Master Biden? That's it's not even it's sad. Well, I don't know what we gonna do. That's why a lot of people starting to grow their own food. Shoot, a lot of people like, man, I don't need the meat. Meat prices costing all types of things. Like, man, bump the meat. I'll go out here. I'll figure it out. A lot of people are starting to grow their own food. And they're like, nah, I'm not doing that. Inflation through the roof. Y'all know that inflation is by design. The inflation is by design to make sure that those who have already profited, there was a first group of people who've profited from this recent health challenge that the world has gone through. So that was all the online people and Amazon and Zoom and all that. They all made their money. So now it's time for the people who, now the inflation comes in. And so that's where the people are making the profits. You got to ask yourself, where does inflation come from? We're living in a fiat world, a fiat currency based on consumer confidence. So now they can inflate it when they feel like it. They can deflate it when they feel like it. They can go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, go down, whenever they want to feel like it. Gas prices going up. Why? Because somebody felt like they wanted to make some more money. It's that simple. The oil supply is still the same. Everything's still, there's a skirmish over there in Iran that's talking about closing off the oil supply. Well, don't you know other countries have oil? Don't you know that other places have oil? You just go tap into the reserve, get the oil. Yes, but if you run out of it, no, you're not going to run out of it. When I say that, meaning not right now, you're not going to run out of it. But that's part of the game that they play, and they put it on the news, and the people believe it. And so they say, man, the bread prices are so high now. Yeah, that's by design. Where you work harder, the bread costs more. And that's the cycle. That's the cycle. We keep voting the same people in. The system stays the same. And people get upset when you say something about it. I don't like you. I'm going to unsubscribe from you because you talk about Master Biden like that. Master Biden been good to me. He's been so good to me. You can't do that. But yet you sitting in your house right now trying to figure out how you can pay your bills. You running over to the nasty corner store to try, in a carry out to try to get food to eat. You got three grocery stores between the two wars. But still waiting on Master Biden to come. Master Biden gonna come get you. Master Biden gonna come. He gonna come save us, Lord. He gonna come get us. Yeah. And then you're gonna go run over to the little pastor. Pastor, you pray for me? Because this times is hard. Times is so hard right now, and we don't know what we're going to do. Make sure you put your money in that offering plate now before I pray for you, because you know that if you don't put the money in the offering plate now, you can't get no blessings from it now. So put your money in the offering plate, and we're going to pray, and God going to work it out. He's going to work it out. He going to work it out. And it's a system that is designed to do exactly what it's doing. And so the prayers hitting the roof, prayers ain't going nowhere. Because the discernment you're supposed to have, you're not even operating in to stop and say, wait a minute, y'all running a con game on me. Well, we waiting on Master Biden and the Lord. Master Biden and the Lord gonna come rescue us. And when they come rescue us, we just gonna be free. That's the bull, y'all. That's bull. That's some bull. And what I know is that as long as I've been alive, I've seen this pattern over and over and over and over and over again. And next thing we want to do is go feel good. Feel good about sitting in a dirty diaper. Feel good. Just tell me it's gonna be all right. Just tell me it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right one day. It's gonna be all right. Same stuff going on. Same stuff going on. I say all the time, if we really want to educate people, then we would educate people. These school systems would educate people. That's why I applaud the parents who homeschool their children and educate their children. I applaud them. I say, hey, look, so you see the garbage that they're teaching? They train us to be like robots to send us out into the world and to do the same thing, cycle, the generation after generation after generation. We do the same thing over and over and over. But you were willing to break that and do something different and teach your children? So if the schools really wanted to educate us and our children, then they would teach us certain things. But they omit that from the curriculum because what that would do is empower. So they omit for real serious financial literacy. I'm not talking about, okay, let's see, we're going to teach you financial literacy. And you know what $1 is? And do you know what a $10 is? Do you know who the president is on a $5 bill? Do you know? That's the stuff they do. It's say, predatory lenders. Do you understand who the World Bank and the IMF might be? Do you know who they are? Do you understand how they exploit countries all over the world and cause countries to be indebted to them, where they could take advantage of their resources and they block and they make things happen to where people can't go and trade, countries can't trade freely. So basically everybody has to fall under this particular system. And do you understand redlining? Do you understand what happened in Tulsa? Do you understand what happened in Wilmington? Do you understand what happened in Richmond? Do you understand about all the towns that were put underwater when they wanted to hide the towns? But something very similar to that happened in Egypt when they built that dam, and what they did with the Nubian communities and how they had Nubian communities underwater and they moved them over to a different place. There's some very interesting things that happened. And who built the dam in Egypt? Who contributed to that? Was it the Soviets? Was it America? Oh my. What's going on? Where's the skirmish happening? Where's America's got its hands over in that part of the world and different wars happening in different African countries? Ooh, there's civil unrest over there. Do you know who's behind the civil unrest? Ooh, there's crime and there's gang wars in America. Do you know who's behind that stuff? That's what I'm saying. See, when you start traveling in the world and you start seeing that very similar pattern happening, you say, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I got you. But that's why it's important to educate yourself. That's why it's important for you to go see for yourself. That's why it's important to recognize the hand of colonization. That's why when I go to these countries in Africa, I don't celebrate white supremacy by saying, ooh, look at all of this development. I say, okay, look, y'all, we came from this place. We come from this world over here. This is what we know. We're gonna make sure you're comfortable, but don't be fooled. Don't exalt. Don't be a player in the pawn. And it's very developed and such and such and such and such and such, as if that's the standard, without realizing that's part of the thievery. That's part of the theft. Now, again, I'm not saying don't enjoy nice things. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, is that once you understand and recognize what it is, and you recognize the hands of the players and the people behind the scenes and all the stuff that they have going on, and whose hand is in the middle of what, you go to Ghana and you see George W. Bush Highway. And you know that wasn't because the love of the president for the love of the president of Ghana for George W. Bush. That you know that there was I think it was like a $500 million loan that was attached to that. And that, basically that's what it was. And it was like, well, all America had to do was to drop $500 million and give $500 million to Ghana so they could build their own highway. But no, they want to make sure that the Chinese get in and put the people in debt. They build the airports, put the people in debt. You got the port over there in Kenya, the Chinese trying to own that or take that over or something to that effect. You got the Chinese all throughout Africa doing what they do. And you just see the little trucks everywhere. See the little trucks, just like, see the little right, and have no shame with it. You go to the port down right there in Jamestown in Ghana. I'm over in Zanzibar. You see the roads that are being built, Chinese letters on it. I'm in Sierra Leone. I see the ships out in the port with the Chinese flag flying on it. This is the education that you get when you go and you travel and you understand how the game is played. But they got us held up here in America. You sure you want to go over there to Africa? Them Africans don't like us. And besides, I don't want to go over there because I'm not African anyway. I'm American. I'm indigenous. I'm not African. I'm not African. And I tell them all the time, if you that indigenous, then go roll your behind up on one of these reservations and see how welcome you'll be on there. I'm talking about take your black behind, your African behind up on one of them reservations and talking about, I'm coming back home. To try that and see how that works out for you. And then you be like, no, they don't want me back. And now I got to go find my own place. And I'm going to go do. See, this is the game. I'm telling y'all, this is the game out here. This is the game out here that they're playing. I have people hitting me up, man. You know you're not African, right? I'm like, well, part of me definitely is. Part of me is definitely African. No, I'm not 100%, but part of me is definitely African, and I'm proud of each part of me that comes from that part of the world. No, we not from there. We not from there. And I'm saying, okay, now maybe there's some of you that we got some DNA and stuff that come from this part of the world too. I get that. Then why don't you take the DNA test and find out? Nah, that ain't right. That's for entertainment purposes. That's for entertainment purposes only. That don't work. That ain't right. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that stuff fraudulent. That ain't right. Okay, well, let me say this. I feel you on that from the standpoint of being skeptical with DNA, and I respect that. I got that. I said, however, when I did mine, I said, let me see how legit this stuff is. Let me see if it's too legit to quit. So when I did mine, I said, I'm going to do them all. I said, I'm at the age, look, if they want to clone me, if they want to bring that upon themselves, then go ahead and knock yourself out. Go ahead and clone me. It is what it is. Besides, you got my DNA from all the doctor's visits and blood tests and urine tests and everything else that's been done. They got my DNA. If they wanted it that bad, they say, look, just like they mandate you putting something in your body, they can say, man, look, make sure every urine sample that comes through here, you put a record of it somewhere and you keep it. And every time you go to the doctor, and you're like, well, they didn't have permission. They do whatever they want to do. They don't need permission. They'll make up a law you won't even know about. So with that said, I went and I said, all right, let me go and check this out. So because I'm skeptical, I'm going to check this thing out too. I'm going to say, nah, let me find out if this DNA has some sort of, relevance to it. Let me just check this out, because I hear Negroes over here talking about it's fraudulent. I'm hearing white boys over here talking about it's fraudulent. So let me go with what I know. So I did my, and this is for the people out there that's saying that we're not from here. All right, all that. So, and I also preface it to say, I do believe that there were people from Africa who were here in America long before chattel slavery and all of that. So I don't dispute that. But when I went, I said, you know what, let me do my genealogy. So I went through the genealogy, I went through the census, I did all this different stuff. I broke that thing all the way down. Before I did one DNA test, before I even touched DNA, I said, let me do the records. So the records told one story. So, okay, cool. All right, I got that down. I know where my folks originated from based upon as far back as the census would go. Bertie County, North Carolina, then over in the Virginia Beach, Tidewater area, and then down in the low country of South Carolina, that's the Gullah Geechee area. This is how I put all of this stuff together. finally I said, I'm going to go do Ancestry because I'm curious now. And so, okay, no, y'all can't sell my stuff. I'll check the thing off. Okay. But if y'all want to clone me, I'm old enough now that, all right, it is what it is. It's more important for me to know or to find out or to disprove what you have going on than to be worried about that. And I'm telling you, the people like the indigenous crowd and them people into that stuff, they're scared to take the test. You can always tell when people are like if you're not scared, then do it. Then do it to see, then prove that it's bogus. Prove it. Let's prove that it's bogus. But no, I ain't doing that because I ain't want my stuff. I don't know. They got your stuff if they want it. So I took the test and it came back. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I might do a whole video on this. I took the test and it came back and I was like, it was consistent with what I knew. I knew that the European was there. I knew the African was there, and I knew that there was some indigenous in there. I knew that. Okay. All right. So I said, well, we got to go a step further than this. Let me go I did Ancestry, then I did 23andMe, and then I did my heritage. But what was interesting about this was that who it linked me to. I did not know certain people took this test. These people on the testing companies do not know who I'm related to. They're just getting people spit and processing it and keeping it moving. They don't care. It's about money for them. The spit, what does it say? So on my first test, what pops up are two cousins that are my mother's first cousins. So I said, oh, okay. Okay. Wait a minute here. That's the truth. Based upon the census reports, the genealogy and the history I knew, now the DNA is confirming it. I said, okay, interesting. Then what I saw when in particular Ancestry, and this is why I tell people do Ancestry, do them all. If you're going to do it, if you're going to walk down that road, do them all. I said, go ahead and do them all and disprove it. So I looked, I said, okay, I'm seeing family names show up in the line, in all of the same name showing up everywhere. I'm seeing the same name, and that's the family name that I'm now genetically connected to. I had 3. Let me tell you how deep this thing got. For all the people out there saying that it's bogus and they don't believe it, I don't think it's right. I had 3 cousins who did not know anything about me. I didn't know anything about them. As a matter of fact, these are children of one of my cousins who's running around having kids all over the place, and they show up on me as second cousins. So they said, well, and they hit me up and said, well, excuse me, my name is so-and-so, and I'm showing up as your second cousin. And I wonder, I was adopted, and all I know is that my father's initials are these 2 initials. When they said the 2 initials, I knew exactly who the father was. And so then one of them, she said, yeah, she knew who the father was, but one of them did because she had interactions with them. So then what I was able to do is to take those 3 people and connect them together because they're sisters. And you can look at them and tell. I mean, you could just, some things, genetic, some things you look at. So if this is fraudulent, and this is what I said, is that's a whole lot of fraudulent going on. So then I got my aunt, my father's sister. She did African ancestry. She did Ancestry. So she did her DNA. But before her DNA came back, there was this young lady whose DNA came up, and it came up as a second cousin. And I said, well, let's trace this back because we're too closely related. We must know the person. She said, well, yeah. She said, well, this is my Aunt Betty. She said, but that's my grandmother. I said, what? I said, it's your grandmother. I said, well, I just submitted her DNA, so we will find out if she's your grandmother for real. And within a few weeks, it came back, it was her grandmother. And so we saw the connection by way of her. I've had so many, another young lady in Boston adopted, shows up as a second cousin. my nephew shows up. I said, well, who's this? This person is showing up real close. So my sister's son, he's like, yeah, my nephew Jermaine. Yeah, well, I'm your sister's son. He didn't know. My cousin Ramel, his daughter shows up on the DNA. And I was like, well, who's your father? Well, Ramel. And I said, this your daughter? Yeah. So for all the fraudulent, that's what I'm saying. You guys, see, I'm willing to disprove something. I'm willing to go all the way and disprove something because I'm not afraid to. I just want the truth one way or the other. When people pull that stuff, I don't want to go see. I'm not going to do it. I just want to believe what I believe in my mind because I watched some YouTube video and dude, he was breaking it down and dude was telling the truth. All you got to do, I'll tell you like this. My 3 sons. I said, hey. I said, come on. I said, now we're going to really find out if this is fraudulent. And each one of them jokers came back. Those my boys. My mother did it. Now, how about that? They don't know who my mother is. She did it. I came back her son. That's all I'm saying. This is where when the peanut gallery, that's what I said, okay, well, let me just, all right, let me find out for myself. Let me go see. So when I hear the quack boxes and all that kind of stuff talking, I'm saying, well, go check it out. And then so people say, well, I don't like how they changed my estimate and stuff. At first it said this, and then it changed to this. It must be something wrong. That's where somebody doesn't understand the system. So when you're dealing with sample sizes, and I'm dealing with Ancestry and 23andMe in particular, I'm not talking about African ancestry, which offers a more, it's a different kind of system. I'm talking about African ancestry. I'm talking about Ancestry and 23andMe and my heritage. That's the one that gives the broad range. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, if somebody, because sometimes here's another thing. Sometimes they get results back that they don't like. Like my aunt was telling me, she's like, yeah, my mother them told me we were Indian. That's what they said. I said, Indian number 9. They're like, no, Indian. Oh, Indian. Oh, okay. Yeah, we Indian. Okay, I hear a lot of black people saying that over the years because they didn't want to be African. They just didn't want to be African. I'm Indian. I'm mixed. I'm mulatto. See that wave in my hair right now, mulatto. I'm anything. Give me my umbrella. Give me my umbrella because I don't need to go in the sun. I'm vitamin D deficient, but I don't need to go in the sun. Anyway, y'all got me started tonight. But this is some of the stuff we say, though. This is the truth. I'm in Nigeria. They got skin bleaching cream in the corner store. Got the little carrot stuff in there. I thought I was getting something. Man, that's a skin bleaching cream. I don't need to put no skin bleaching cream on. I'm proud of my melanin. I'm proud of all of my African features. So it's like, but this is the stuff that we got going on. And guess what? It trickles down to 3 grocery stores in the 2 most democratic areas in Washington, D.C. All this stuff trickles down. All this stuff with identity, all of this stuff plays a part. And so all I have to say is this. When I started waking up to how my mind was messed up, I had to start deconstructing everything. I mean, every daggone thing. I had to go back to the beginning, to my earliest memories in being in diapers. I remember being a little baby in diapers, and back in the day when I was born, see, I sound like an old man. And back in the day when I was born, they used to have the Pampers box in the cardboard box, and you open up the little front, and you have all the little diapers, and then you pull them out, the little plastic diapers, and they open up, and they have the little tabs and stuff, and they didn't have the little cloth. Well, they had the cloth ones that you would send in. That's still like a nasty thing when I think back on it. They used to have the little cloth diapers and the little pins on the side, and the parents be missing and sticking the babies with the pins, and they had the little plastic bag that to put the babies in, and whoo. Anyway, that was back in the day. But I remember I had to go back to my earliest childhood memories and say, what were they teaching me from the very beginning? And the earliest memory that I have is saying the Pledge of Allegiance. going in the little Montessori school. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. All that right. This stuff is embedded in me now. I want to forget it. It's like, it's entrenched in me. It's like a part of my soul. It's like, oh God, how did this happen? And so, but I remember I was indoctrinated with nationalism from a young age. And then I remember then you go from nationalism into the religion. And so you have nationalism and religion going, then you have culture. And then the people give you the bad food while you're growing up, the high sugar, high everything kind of food. And then you do that and you wonder why everybody got diabetes and high blood pressure. I'll never forget when I found out that my grandfather had high blood pressure. I guess he was around 60 years old or so. And yeah, daddy got high blood pressure. Yeah, well, how'd he get it? What is high blood pressure? He got some pressure. Like, how'd he get the pressure? Well, he was eating too many canned foods. You know, that's what they said. And I remember this like in the 80s. He ate too many canned foods. So you better not eat all them canned foods. And I remember him sitting there in the mornings and he would have his orange juice and he would sit there and he had these 3 little pills. He would take his pills every morning and then he would go on about his way. But I never saw the diet change. I never saw the diet modify until it was to the point where the diet had to modify. It was like, or else they were going to die. But I never saw it. I remember going every Thanksgiving. It was, oh, that's some good food right there. That's good food right there. But we still do. That's what we do now because it's a part of the culture. It's been ingrained in us. And so then we're asking ourselves, well, what's killing us? That's how that thing can come along and wipe us out the way that it did because of stuff like that. But then they emphasize, you better get this instead of saying, you know what? We're going to mandate that y'all don't put all that sugar in that food. We're going to mandate that you don't put those carcinogens and chemicals in that food that's killing the people and giving them cancer and stuff. We're going to mandate that. We're going to require that you now, when they come back to school after being on Zoom for a year, we're going to mandate that you teach them how to maximize their immune system by way of eating healthy. No. We're not going to do that, but we're going to make sure that you force them to do something that tells them that they're going to get better, but they still get sick anyway. So, it's that type of stuff that you stop and you say, something's not right. See, we can solve a lot of this with education. A lot of issues that we have, we can solve with education and creating a culture that supports it. We can change it. That's why I commend all the people who are encouraging people to grow their own food and create their own environment and make modifications and do better in the whole process. I applaud people like that. But then when you have people get on the news and then we just believe what we see on the news. We believe it. Yes, we believe what we see on the news. That's what they told us to do, so we better do it. I mean, what I observed in this whole process, and that's why I said it's like I can't get on here. Some people do this stuff for subscribers and likes and applause and all that kind of stuff. This is just not the channel for this. I mean, like when we go on tours and we travel and we do different things, you're going to have the time of your life because you're going to get educated and you're going to have a great time and you're going to see things. That's how you empower people. You don't just go, just take people on a trip and just leave them hanging just because you're trying to get their money. If you really bout that black thing and all that kind of stuff, you don't do stuff like that. But you got a lot of people doing that because they can exploit the black mind because the black mind has been conditioned to think a particular way. Instead of saying, hey, we got to do better, y'all. We have got to educate ourselves. We can't just talk about educating ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. Or else we are doing our children a disservice. We're doing the next generation a disservice. If we just get on these platforms and we just want likes and followers and all of that, and we're afraid to say what's good for real, we are Bojangles. We are no different than the colonizer. We are agent for the colonizer. We are seller. We are sellouts if that's what we do. And we don't break this thing down and we say, listen, this is how you can improve your health. This is how you can improve your financial situation. This is how you can educate yourself and educate your children. This is what's going on around you. This is how the system has been for 50 years. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. What you might want to do is go look at Muriel and whoever else. You might want to go look and say, hey, this ain't Trump. Can't blame this one on Trump because you're the one who signs off on this. You're the one who creates this. You're the one who does this. So why don't we have 16 grocery stores between Ward 7 and 8? But folks don't want to do that. Folks don't want to do that. Same thing. Now, the one thing I would say is I do see people rising up in the African countries challenging the foolery that they see. I do see people, and they're doing it to the death. They're willing to go and lose their life protesting some of this nonsense that they see going on. They recognize it doesn't make sense for all of these subsidies and monies and all this other kind of stuff to come in, and we're building up Europe and building up America and building up China, and then the people still can't get they can't get the wealth that they deserve. So they're speaking up and they're saying something. Well, that's the same thing that should happen in Washington, D.C. and any other city in America or any other city in the world, whether it's in France or Canada or the UK or Germany or wherever, to speak up and to say, hey, look, please tell us what's happening. And then if they come back with some mumbo jumbo, vote them jokers out and use whatever leverage you have. A lot of times people feel that they're helpless because that's the way that the system is designed to make you feel helpless, to make you feel like, well, what are we supposed to do? I heard somebody say, what are we supposed to do? And so when you begin to, first thing you got to do is educate yourself. And that's something that an individual has to do. But then after that, as each person educates themselves, then you go and tell somebody else. Just like with this right now, somebody's seeing this and they're learning something and they're figuring it out. That's one way of chipping away at that. That's one way. I hope you share this with Muriel too, and anybody else that needs to see it. Because the whole game has been exposed on this, the whole thing, the whole layout of it. And then I hope what happens from there, not that, my thing is not that anyone fails, but now that they be held accountable to say, all right, let's fix this. Not just one grocery store, not a appeasing grocery store, but make a commitment to build 5 grocery stores between the 2 wards. How about this? Put a clear plan together. Let's put 5 grocery stores between the 2 wards. Let's see what we can do with that. 5 grocery stores, 2 wards. Feed the people, educate the people, empower the people. You can do that with the budget that you already have. And when you begin to do something like that, now, hey, maybe the Democratic Party isn't so bad. They're doing a little something for a change. They're not just talking that junk, getting our votes, playing games with us. Same thing. I don't know what's happening in PG County. I might need to take a look over in PG County and see what's happening. Glimpse over there, see where the food. I mean, I haven't seen. I don't know. Is there food shortage? Let's check some of the areas in. I don't think there's food shortages in. I'm thinking Suitland, Landover, Oxon Hill, Capitol Heights, Forestville, everywhere they got food. I'm thinking they got food. There's a Target, a grocery store that's got over Forestville, Suitland. I think they got, check. Y'all let me know what's happening in Suitland, Maryland, and Landover, Maryland, and Oxon Hill. Let me know, yeah. But I'm pretty sure there's food locations in those areas, and I know they have them down in Charles County. That's where they're shipping everybody off to. So I know, because they're gentrifying PG County too, Prince George's County, for those who want to, be particular. They're gentrifying right on that line. So just know that. All right, so that's what's happening. Now y'all know. I've offered a clear plan to lay it out. Hey, all the government, the DC government has to do is to mandate that somebody put some grocery stores over there. Problem solved. And people will go. And that's it. I mean, that's the deal. So anyway, some of your thoughts you can put in the comments below. And I know I touched on that whole identity piece. I'll wrap it up with this. As I went through that and I found all those people related to me, I knew it wasn't fraudulent because I'd done my homework on who was related to me. And I knew in my own family who they said was related to me. And those companies knew nothing about it. So it gave it a level of credibility that my man on the videos doesn't have. He's just talking. He's just talking because somebody paying him to talk that stuff. And got millions of people all confused, twisted in their minds because they don't know, and they don't want to be African. They don't want to be African. Nothing but I can't be African. I can't have no African blood. Oh Lord, I got to be anything but that. Cause the Africans, oh Lord, no. And they got the witchcraft. Whoa, Lord, I can't be one of them. Cause we got the Lord over here with us, without even realizing that the same dances, the same structure, the same all of that is rooted in the very things that they're calling witchcraft. And again, I could keep going. Y'all should watch the video I did where I showed where they were doing the voodoo dance and then they were doing the black church dance and all of that, and how they were identical, and the same foot movement and same shoulders and all that thing going on and the same thing. And I was like, so where y'all think y'all got that from? Where do y'all think y'all got that from? No, I know the bishop said that. No, I was like, where do you think bishop even got the title bishop from? Where do you think that came from? Well, it says in the Bible that the bishops are the overseers, and if they want to be a bishop, then they need to be not but the husband of one wife, and such and such and such and such. They want to be an overseer, it's a noble task. I mean, boy, I tell you, some of the things that's what it does say that. It does say that. But the system, where did the system come from? Had a great conversation with somebody, and we were talking about the origins of things. Most people don't even know the origins of things because it's not emphasized in our culture. And so the more we talk about it, I encourage you to look at the origins. When you start looking at the origins and you start looking at historical facts, it will begin to paint a different picture than what we've been taught, or it will confirm what we've been taught. But because we're too busy working, too busy caught up in entertainment, too busy wanting to be somebody else other than who we are, too busy trying to do whatever we're trying to do in order to get significance. Because all of that's happening, what ends up happening after that is we lose ourselves in that, and all these agendas come sliding through, and we just sit there and complain, why y'all ain't got no food for me? Well, because you were asleep at the wheel. I took your food. I'll give you a little bit just to make you survive. That's it. What's next? I want my food back. I know. We can talk about it for a little while. Just wait a couple years and we'll bring you a little bit. We'll send you some bread over. In the meantime, everything building up. 16 grocery stores, 16 grocery stores, 16 grocery stores. Another generation goes by. And then what you have is the exodus. So you have all the people who are indigenous to a particular area. Now they want to go be over there with the 16 grocery stores. Just like you have so many people who are indigenous to Africa. First thing they want to do is go to Dubai, into Europe, into America, and forget. Now, some people send that money back to Africa. Some people do. Some people go, they pimp the system. Let me go to America, go get that money, and send it back to my folks, and then we go build up and do what we need to do. But then there's another mindset of people who they just hopscotch, jump, and all they want to do is try to fit into that world. Can you accept me? Can you accept me? I'm here. Can you be about? Can you accept me into your world? And they just forget the village, forget everything, and they're just gone. And they say, I don't care anymore. And the same thing happens here in America with so-called black people. They leave the country. They don't ever want to go back. They leave the hood, if you will. They don't ever want to go back. They're too good for that now. But yet they complain. Yet they complain about being treated unfairly and complain about this isn't right. But yet they won't even go back to where they came from. All right, y'all. Anyway, that's all I got. So like, subscribe, share if you dare. Make sure you pick up The Adventures of Darren and Destiny as we educate our children from a young age, changing the narrative about the continent of Africa and its many countries, and giving people information that would largely not be given. And so, again, I could get on here and talk jibber jabber, but I can't do that. I could get on here and hey, guys, come follow me because I'm going to just show you nice things. I got to tell you the truth. Been around too long. Too long, 2 golden years, too long. Can't do it. Can't go out like a sucker. Can't do it. So anyway, I appreciate all the love, all the support, all that good stuff. And we'll be back with more. I'm going to think about what we got coming next. But I got a lot of content, a lot of videos. We're working on this trip to Nigeria. Egypt sold out. I mean, we got a bunch of, it's a lot happening. As of right now, we're taking to Africa in 2022. There are 352 people that will be a part of the Maximum Impact travel experience, whether it's to Ghana, Egypt, or Tanzania. 352 people. This is early February. My goal is 500. That's right, 500. See, people from around the way understand how to spell that. HUNNIT. 100. 500. You don't even say 5. You say 5. 500. 500 people to the continent of Africa. Oh, man, 500 people to the continent of Africa in 2022. Will it be you? Because we're going to have a great time. And that's how it always goes. I'm looking forward. I'll be back in Ghana next month. Got a group coming next month to Ghana. After that, we got we have Tanzania on the way. Then we have another Ghana. Got a couple Ghanas in between there. Working on this Nigeria. Got South Africa coming. So a lot of people have been asking about South Africa. South Africa is on the way. So South Africa is coming. So that's going to be a powerful trip. Also, Kenya, Morocco, Senegal. This is all coming down the pike. And so just get ready. And again, the ones that are advertised that I'm on, those are the ones that I'll be on. And I look forward to meeting everybody and sitting down and having conversations and talking about this stuff. Like I said, the peanut gallery ain't going to want to go on my tours. And I don't want the peanut gallery on my tours. But there's another group of people that's like, yo, bruh, it's about time. Let's do this thing. In an old tone low voice. All right, everybody. Enjoy your day. Talk to you soon.